See? I told you. You're blocking him. Poor guy can't even see.
It's a big power.
Hello, hello. Everyone hear me okay? Perfect. So I'll start this off. My name is Ryan Blum. I work for the Navy's ad agency. I'm in charge of all the creative. So if you love it, let me know. If you hate it, don't tell me. Just pretend you like it. So we'll start off. I want to thank everyone for being here. If I know it's anything you probably hate, it's sitting in a chair listening to some random guy talk for an hour and a half. If we're being honest, there's three things I hate. It's hearing my own voice, which I'm hearing. It's being on camera, and it's standing in front of a large group of people who you don't know that are staring back at you. So we'll be uncomfortable together as I find the clicker. All right. Good? We're good? It's supposed to be fun. Fun hour and a half. I promise not to yell. So just real quickly, what are we going to talk about? So branding 101. What is branding? Why are we here? What is the advertising and NRC's marketing role in the large recruiting picture? What is Forged by the Sea? Who's all heard Forged by the Sea? Oh, that's good. Before you got here, who'd heard of Forged by the Sea? Damn, all right. Money's well spent. So how can Forged by the Sea help you recruit? So one of the things is Forged by the Sea has been out for about a year and a half, but we haven't really gotten into the schoolhouse or got into all the recruiting districts to show how it can help recruit. So we're out there in the fleet making a lot of content, creating a lot of things that we think can be very helpful to supplement what you're doing every day. And then we'll talk a little bit about tomorrow's sailor. Who is it that you're trying to recruit? And then we'll briefly touch on tools and resources that you can use starting tomorrow or today. And then what's next? So just a sneak peek of some of the things that we're going to be doing into 2019, 2020. So branding 101, so we're in college again. These three brands, I hope everybody recognizes. If not, I would be really concerned. You've probably recognized their taglines as well. It's the rally cry, right? But the reason they work is longevity, and that these brands embrace this from the top down. You look really familiar. Oh, yes, you do look really familiar. How are you doing? It's great to see you. Everyone's going to see you in just a second. Yeah, we're going to embarrass the hell out of you. We got a star. Does everyone know? Natalie Tardif up here, she's a star you're going to see. So sorry. And for the people watching live, you don't get to see her until later. All right, back to where we're at. Brands. You know Just Do It. Just Do It's been around for 40 years. They use it in their internal meetings. They use it for everything they sell. I know they're probably in bad taste. We built this before last week, so I apologize. McDonald's, you know it. Everyone in here can sing that jingle. They use it everywhere. And then Apple, it's the way they operate. It's what they talk and they do. So to present a united and effective message, it's crucial that when we speak to recruits, we embody Forged by the Sea. And why do we need to do that? So for the last 40 years, the Navy's been really bad about sticking with one message. I'm assuming that everyone in here probably started maybe here on, but we all remember these from when we were a kid. And it's not that any of them are bad. It's just that they changed them every 3, 4, 5 years. And so when you don't have a consistent message, it kind of makes the brand dilute a little bit. So Forged by the Sea, how did we get here? This was about 18 months of research, planning, creative people thinking, going up to the Pentagon, working with NRC to land at Forged by the Sea. We wrote about 2,000 individual taglines. And we'll talk a little bit about why we got here, because I'm sure some people have asked, hopefully not, but what does Forged by the Sea mean? Any questions here? I forgot to say in the beginning, if you have a question, raise your hand. It's good. It keeps things real. Not like I can't see anyone's face, so I feel like I'm talking to robots to some degree. But that video was something that we used when we did internal, external focus groups, so focus groups with teenagers, focus groups with veterans, focus groups with active duty, and also to sell in this concept up the chain of command. But really what's important for this room is how's it going to help you recruit? Forged by the Sea, I think that everyone in here that served can agree that the Navy has helped shape you into a stronger version of yourself. If you think back to when you were 16, 17, to where you are today. And the purpose behind Forged by the Sea is to show potential recruits how the Navy does that. And then obviously the voice of the Navy, and this borrows from the Navy as a whole, is bold, it's true, it's loyal, it's strong. And it definitely conveys the principles upheld by the men and women who serve. So if you take this campaign like, man, how the hell is this thing going to help me? Think of it as your support staff, right? And yes, my voice did crack. I'm a 40-year-old with a 15-year-old's voice. That's why I hate to hear it. So, sorry. Everything about Forged by the Sea is designed to reinforce the Navy's core values. There's tools. We're going to talk about them later. If you haven't heard of them before, Face of the Fleet, Sea Story, Jobs in the Navy, Navy.com, just how those things work together to show the authentic story. So one of the things that you're going to learn about the kids today is that authenticity is very important. They don't want BS. They want to know, is someone going to get in my face and yell at me at boot camp? Yes, they are. If you can't deal with that, don't join, because that's what it's going to be. Is it going to be tough? Yes, it's going to be tough. But are you going to be a better person in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Hell yeah, you are. And authenticity is important, and it's something that we've really tried to sell in, that we have to tell the truth, the truth that's unclassified. Focus on job opportunities, so helping potential recruits see themselves in stable and rewarding careers, whether that be a career in the Navy or a career once they leave the Navy. And then the wisdom and experience that everyone in this room brings to the audience is really just enhanced by this campaign. All right, so what is this slide that you can't read that has a lot of words on it? So this is what we call the brand platform. So Forged by the Sea was developed, and when we look at it, there's different pillars that really motivate kids, millennials and centennials. And those first three, meaningful adventure, creative innovation, and strength, each one of those is a different pillar. And it's, part our job when we go out into the media world and buy media. It's part your job when a kid walks in. For example, a kid walks in and you think he's going to be Warrior Challenge Program, SEAL, EOD, diver. They're going to be motivated by the things in this strength pillar, right? So my voice cracked again. It talks a little bit about why it's motivating, but these are these key emotional levers about what are the things that you can talk about with that, potential recruit that's going to help them get excited. Creative innovation. So really what that is does the Navy allow me, do I have to follow these rigid rules? And I think to some degree, yes, but to a degree, are you allowed to be creative and think open? And you are. So that's going to be something where your cryptos and your nukes are going to be more motivated by. And then the last three, opportunity, teamwork, and direction, are very important. They kind of underpin, if you think about, they go under every one of these. Opportunity, that's what kids are looking for. What's going to make them better? What's going to give them the best opportunity to succeed in life? And we'll hit on that a number of times. Teamwork. One of the things that was very interesting in focus groups as we went through and showed work and showed ideas was if it was a single sailor doing a job, kids were turned off by it. They want to know that they're going to be in a space working with other people. It's the diversity of people. It's the diversity of ideals. That's a real big one. And then direction. And this one really surprised me. It's like, do kids really want a highly structured environment? For all of us that have teenagers or have had teenagers, you're like, hell no, they don't listen to me. They don't want any structure. But the reality is that they really do, and they want a career that helps them do that. Any questions on this? So you'll get a copy, because I know you probably can't read it in the back, but I promise you it's really cool. So who are we talking to? So raise your hand if you've heard the term millennials. Awesome. I'm sure there's some millennials in this room. How about centennials or Gen Z? Okay, that's scary, especially when you look at this slide. So you're recruiting centennials, unless you're looking for officers who might have recently graduated, or if you're going after a medical career or something like that. Millennials are not who we're recruiting anymore, it's centennials. And every Friday we graduate about 800 centennials into the fleet, right? And if you look at this stat, if you can read this, 2025, 75% of enlisted and 33% of officers will be centennials. Scary thought is the youngest sailor today was born after 9/11. They're kids, but they're smart kids. And I could spend an entire hour talking about the difference between millennials and centennials. We're from a generational standpoint, we're heading in a good place. So these are some touch points, right? Think about this. They've never known a life without the internet, and I mean like the fast internet, not the AOL CD, dial-up stuff that some of us in this room grew up with. They've never had a life without smartphones. Kids 3 years old, you see them in the airport on iPads, on their parents' phones. They think it's important to be well informed. So millennials would just jump at a cause. I'm going to hashtag save the trees. Centennials want to know, why are we saving the trees? And what can I do to do it? They're not about hashtags. They use them, but they want to be informed and be in a cause. This is the stat. We didn't want to make something up, but the stat says that they spend an average of 3 hours and 30 minutes on mobile devices a day. I'm 42. I spend twice that, so I'm assuming that they're on there a lot longer. The important thing, though, is they assess and process information in 8 seconds. And, the marketing world, we call it the BS factor. If you don't catch them in 8 seconds with video, they're gone. And they're scrolling to the next one. I think we've all seen them scroll. Whatever the Snapchat one is, scrolling, sliding, whatever, Tinder, all that fun stuff. 8 seconds, they're out. And they prefer visual platforms. So your Snapchat, your Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We'll talk more about what we're doing in those channels and how they can help. And then remember this bottom one, because we're going to come back to it. They really believe that YouTube has helped them become more knowledgeable about something. Today, for centennials, YouTube is the #2 search engine, right behind Google. And centennials in high school, so the kids that you're going to be talking to, they're looking for career guidance. So I'll read these stats quickly. 60% of centennials choose a career before college. So if you wait till they're seniors in high school, they've probably already decided what they want to do, and that's a much tougher sell. But before high school, only 16% of them who have a career in mind actually approach someone for guidance. When they get to high school, it's like almost 50%. So if you think about it, they need you, and we know that we need them. And then they value success. They want to be successful. These are kids who grew up, during the Great Recession. Some of them saw their parents struggle. They don't want to do that. They want to be successful. They want a stable career. Equality. So this is a big one. Equality is not a wish for centennials. It's an expectation. They really don't see sexuality. They don't see race. They don't see gender. They don't see age. They really see themselves as one common group of people. So it's one of the things that we hammer a lot, is that it's an expectation, and we have to answer it. Authenticity. We talked about that already. They want it to be real. They want loyalty from a job, and they want to be loyal to a job. And then in the end, I think this probably goes for every generation. No one wants to be unhappy. So happiness. Any question on the kids running around in the world? No? Nope? Okay. All right, so how do you reach them? You got to meet centennials where they are. Remember that. We'll come back to it when we talk about media and stuff like that. Communications need to be as visual as possible. And we're out there creating a lot of stuff that we'll talk about that you can pick up and use today to help do that. Keep the 8-second filter in mind. We keep it in mind with everything we do. Every opening to every video we do, we try to catch people right at the beginning. Believe it or not, we're doing a really good job of that. So we have a campaign of 6-second and 15-second pre-roll ads. And there's a whole science behind when do we use them and how do we retarget that I won't bore you with. But it's been the most successful video campaign in YouTube's history, for government. So it's working really well. We're able to see when do kids drop off. We can dump those videos and bring in new videos. You got to empower them to appreciate the impact that they can have as a sailor. Then we talked about equality. It's promote the importance of diversity. And then reinforce the long-term benefits. We had a conversation last night. I wish that someone had come and talked to me when I was 15. Although at 15, thinking about retiring when you're 45 would right over my head. But it is important. The benefits are insane. And then what do they want to know? So what does the Navy do? Funny question for this room, right? Because everyone in here knows. But when we started doing our research, we found out that the Navy has, in the United States, 100% awareness. So that means that every single person pretty much in America knows that there is a United States Navy. That's something that most brands would kill to have. But we have about 0% knowledge. So when you ask them what does the Navy do, they let the Air Force land jets on their ships. It's really nice. They have no idea of the things that we do under the ocean. They have no idea of the things that we're doing, above the ocean. So that's a really important thing that we have to teach the general public and then kids through the marketing. How's it different from the other armed services? I think everyone in here can answer that question. You're all sailors. You've all been there. You all joined the Navy for a reason. As a civilian, I think the point of differentiation, if you look at Forged by the Sea, is that fact that we're talking about the sea, operating on the sea. How does that forge an individual, and how does it forge the Navy? And then, how is it different from other non-military career opportunities? I can testify that advertising is not going to make you a better version of yourself. Probably worse version of yourself, honestly. Neither is working at Google or Facebook. But when you're in the military, you are going to grow, be that 5 years or 25 years. And then the last two, what's it like to be in the Navy and how can I join? Those are your parts. That's the part the knowledge that you bring to this campaign that we do not. We good? Questions? Or we got to think of your questions because we're going to have questions at the end that we have to do, or we have to stay here for another hour. All right. So how do we go after this target? So one of the things that we hear all the time is, I haven't seen the TV. Well, TV you probably see, but I haven't seen these videos online. I haven't seen Face of the Fleet. So if any of you feel that way, that's good, because we'd be wasting money if we were sending them to you, because you've already joined. And I don't think we have centennials in here. But centennials, some of them are seeking meaningful adventure. Some are inspired by military. And some simply just want to break away and be part of something bigger. So between research and the resources that we have, we find these kids and the demographics. We go back to those pillars, those levers. What are those pillars that are most going to motivate them, and where are they going to see those? So we use a lot of different channels. This is just a very small percentage of that. And then I don't think any of this is going to be a surprise to anyone. What are we facing? What is Navy Recruiting Command facing reaching their goal? This is all military, right? Unemployment's its lowest rate since the late 60s. This is an insane stat. In 95, 40% of kids had a parent who served in the military. Today, that's 15%. So it's really, really low, and it's really tough. So remember that, because we're going to talk about it with why are we doing Face of the Fleet? Why do we do Sea Stories? There's a reason behind that. And then educational options. It's easier to get no or low-cost secondary educational options. Stat I saw this week that I want to throw out is pretty nuts, is that if you look at all of the kids that are eligible to join the military, so they're 17, 18 years old in the United States, only 29% before they take their ASVAB can even join. So they either don't have a high school degree, they've used drugs, one of the other millions of things that get them kicked out, or they're overweight or not physically qualified. So 29%. So you're going to go out and fight every other recruiter in the country, every other branch, for 29% of a very small range of kids. It's a tough task. Tools and resources. So we'll jump in. I feel like I'm going 100 miles an hour because no one's asking questions. We're good? Resonating? Awesome. Okay. Don't pull things from unofficial sites and blogs. They might be helpful, but we can't guarantee that they're accurate or current. So we'll talk about a lot of the resources, but if we're talking about Forged by the Sea, the United States Navy's official branded stuff, videos, podcasts, posters, photos, everything you need, they're easily accessible on the Recruiter e-Toolbox, which we're going to talk about, Navy.com, Navy.mil, and then the U.S. and America's Navy's YouTube pages. So Forged by the Sea, you're going to get, or on the Recruiting e-Toolbox, which I'm going to give you the URL, but you can't write it down because you turned your phones off. But we're going to turn our phones on for that part. But you'll see the brand guidelines. Look at them as you're making something. It's important that we follow them and don't break them so that we can be one of those brands that we talked about in the beginning. I mean, the few, the proud, the Marines didn't get to where it was in a year and a half. It took 50 years of them hammering that home for it to be as remembered as it is now. All right, so content. So we're going to go through some of the content. This is 1% of the content that's out there for you to use. So on this first one, has everyone seen this spot, Sea to Stars? Raise your hands. No one's seen it? Okay. Well, we should be seeing TV. Maybe you guys don't watch TV. Guys and girls don't watch TV. I don't know. Anyway, this is what we call a brand film. It's a minute long. It aired at Army-Navy game 2 years ago. This is really meant to do several things. It's not a heavy hitting, a teenager's going to see it, run to the recruiting office. It's meant to bring pride both internally and externally, so with people like me, just general American civilians, and then also build a little bit of education. It's really difficult to talk about what does the Navy do. Imagine trying to do that in 60 seconds. So this is how we did that. It's a really cool film. and I'll give you some information about it afterwards. So we'll kill the lights.
All stop at 200 feet. Chief, we have a hostile rocket at half altitude.
Outbound for check.
So interesting about this is this spot's about 65% movie magic. So 65% of it's fake. If anyone's really into that sort of thing, I can show you a video later if you want to see. It's actually pretty cool. Right, Chief? That's very cool. All right. So then what matters, right? The recruit films. So we have 3 recruit films. I don't know if anyone's seen them. They're called Game, Test, and Audition. These are really meant to speak right to recruits. And the thought process behind these is, if anyone in here that's a sailor, been a sailor, you're a vet, and you sit down with your cousin or your nephew, and he wants to know or she wants to know, what's it like in the Navy? This is what you would tell them. And it's juxtaposed with what the Navy is and these words of what the Navy is not. The crazy flashing type, if you haven't seen this, is a way just kind of to break through the clutter to make it a little bit more exciting than some of the drab, military commercials that are out there. We're only going to see one of them today. Right now, these are running on TV with an enlistment bonus message. This doesn't have that. But all 3, the voiceover in all 3 were former sailors.
This is not a game. Or part-time in your uncle's shop. And it's bigger than any Little League trophy. It's nothing like fireworks on the 4th of July, 2-a-days with your varsity football team, or the first time you stayed out all night. Out here, it's not where the sea takes you, but who it makes you. Start your journey at Navy.com.
So each one of the recruit films, if you remember from the beginning, the slide that had all the words, I talked about 3 pillars. Each one was made to focus on one of those pillars. So this was the strength pillar. And then obviously we have meaningful adventure and creative innovation. With these spots, if it's something that you need, it's something that you want to share with people, we have 30 seconds, we have 60 seconds, we have them with enlistment bonus, we have one of them in Spanish, we have them all in 15 seconds. For a 15-second ad, you want to show someone to get them excited. We have about over 100 different 15-second ads at your disposal to use. So any question on these kind of the TV commercials? Nope. You're up, Natalie. So face of the fleet. So if you go back to what I talked about this dwindling number of kids that have connection to the military, one of the things that we find from potential recruits is they don't feel like you're approachable. They don't feel like they have anything in common with men and women in uniform. It's not military specific, it's first responders and all that. It's, you're machines, you do what you're told, you move in this, it's not fun, it's not exciting. You don't have a life outside of being in the Navy. And so, as we learned what crap that is, we decided to make a documentary series called Face of the Fleet. And so our 13th episode is going out in the next couple of weeks. And this is just kind of a case study to show you all of them. But it's really funny if you go back, you're like, wait, you said that there was an 8-second BS factor. And these are like 5, 6. Natalie's is 10 minutes long. And our completion rates are through the roof. They're about 67% on average, which is amazing. And they were doing so well that we decided, hey, let's run a pre-roll spot that's 8 minutes long and just see what happens. So I don't watch pre-roll. I should because I'm in advertising. But once it tells me that 5 seconds, I'm out, right? I'm skip ahead. We ran these 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes long. You could skip after 15 seconds. And we had over 2 million people watch the entire thing to the very last second. So what these allow us to do is, we find sailors that tell a certain story for us. So one of the things that we get on social media and that we hear recruiters get asked a lot is, can I be a mom and be in the Navy? And we found this amazing sailor right here. And you're not going to see her whole story, but since she's in here with y'all, I encourage you all to go watch it. Just had another one come out. We're doing it this year overseas. So we just did row to Spain. We're doing Bahrain, and we're doing Japan. And just because everyone in here probably knows, we have to recruit nukes. We have to recruit nukes. We have to recruit nukes. We just finished one that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks about a young man that was homeless. Didn't go to school from 5th to 9th grade, and then he was homeless for 2 years. Graduated top of his class in high school, scored a 99 on the ASVAB, and just finished A school, top of his class. So pretty amazing kid, but let me play this for you.
How do you get over 2 million teens to watch every second of an 8-minute pre-roll ad for the Navy? You show the human side of being a sailor, not the shoot-'em-up advertising teens are used to seeing. Faces of the Fleet is a film series that connects with teens on an emotional level, where sailors tell their own stories of family, responsibility, duty, and second chances. Like a SEAL who trades in the battlefield for the football field.
Hopefully everybody could just see that I'm just another man trying to do my job and trying to be the best you can be.
A mom who defends her ship as she would her children.
People seem to think that just because I'm a mom, that I can't have this kind of job.
And a country boy with a thirst for adventure.
By staying in that small little circle where you're just doing that comfortable thing, you'll never get those grand experiences that make you a complete person.
From a refugee with the heart of a patriot, to a nursing student turned warrior, to an inner city kid who gets his wings. Each one proved that no two paths in the Navy are ever the same. We connected with teens in more ways than we could have imagined. Millions of them. They flooded our subjects' social accounts with questions about their lives in the Navy, transforming the sailors into our biggest brand advocates. Faces of the Fleet gave a glimpse of the deep sense of individuality sailors maintain, and proved that serving your country isn't just about finding the enemy. It's about finding yourself.
My name is Ashley Flynn.
My name is Lieutenant Jesse Iwuji.
Damian Jackson.
Natalie Tarter.
My name is Jamison Ware, and I am an aviation rescue swimmer in the United States Navy.
So if we think about, how do we talk about ourselves in an authentic way? These do that. Sorry, we don't script them. We find sailors that have interesting stories. There's no one way we do it. We have several rounds of interviews over the phone, and if they're hitting those points that we need to hit, we go out and invade their lives for, well, in your case, probably about 10 days. But spend a lot of time with them. So you imagine taking a 5-person camera crew into your house when you're getting ready in the morning, all the other things, and so it's been great. And the biggest things that come out of it, and some of those stats are old, but 19 million engagements. So we want to just be able to talk to a kid, have them talk to us. And 19 million people liked these, shared them, or made comments. And I don't know in Natalie's case, but in a lot of the sailors that have social media accounts, they become brand advocates. People reach out to them. So this is something that, if you meet someone and they have those, fears of, I'm not going to be my own self, I'm not going to be my own person, send them here. There'll be 13 episodes by the time you leave. So great stuff. And then a very important tool that we decided to create, it's something that the other branches don't have. How hard is it as a recruiter to go out and tell someone what an EOD is? Or, everyone knows what a SEAL is, but what is a nuke going to do? If you want me to be a nuke, you want me to be a CT, what am I going to do? So we started a project 3 years. We've been, we're about a year and a half into it, to make a 1 to 2 minute video about every single job in the Navy. And last year we made 35. Right now there's over 60. And by the end of this year there will be 90. So these are all on YouTube. That's what I was talking about when I said jobs in the Navy. Most of the rates that we're trying really hard to recruit right now are there. All of the nukes, all special warfare, all the cryptology. You can pull them up on YouTube and you can show them to a potential recruit right there when they say, well, what's it like to be in a submarine? What's it like to be a fighter pilot? So I just wanted to play one of the nuke ones real quick for you.
All engines ahead, 1/3 for 5 knots, aye, sir.
You're starting the fission process within the reactor.
1
160 feet, dive I, achieve with watch over to 1 and C, dive, 2 blasts of diving.
ETs, they are the ones who actually move control rods in and out and actually start up the reactor.
Our end game is be part of a watch team that supports safe reactor operation to provide propulsion for our carriers and our submarines.
Our job consists of starting up, shutting down nuclear reactor, and doing maintenance on equipment related to reactor safety.
If there are any cautions, you got caution.
Pressure, temperature, flow through the primary systems. We take care of the interface between how we're able to obtain that information and see it in our control consoles. There are a lot of circuit cards that we do maintenance on.
Right now we are reinstalling a capacitor bank. I joined straight out of high school. I knew that I wanted to do something science related with my career and something engineering related.
So I was like, in 3 years, will anyone in my graduating class be operating a nuclear reactor? Probably not.
It may seem daunting, but it's honestly easy after you get used to it.
We have 6 different nitrogen banks.
So the nuclear reactor is pretty amazing. These few hundred pounds of uranium are doing more work than you could even imagine.
The reactor, it's self-sustaining. We can go underway for months at a time now.
There's never been a nuclear accident associated with naval nuclear power. It's pretty impressive.
We are ETs. We're better. And we could quantify that because we get paid more.
I wanted something that challenged me. I'm really into academics. I love school. So it really just set me up for what I was looking for.
So, I mean, if you walk out of this room today with one thing, it's go subscribe to America's Navy's YouTube channel and have these jobs in the Navy. Like I said, there's going to be 90 of them. The ones you need. If somebody wants to be I think of some obscure rate that I can't think of right now. Probably don't have that, but a mortician. We're not going to have a mortician rate video. It'll be a little creepy, and I think we only need 2 morticians a year, so less than that. But go check these out. They're very helpful. We've been getting a lot of great feedback that they're working really well. And then, you go back to that, again, the dwindling connection to the military that teenagers have. And so what's a loss of that is the time-honored tradition of sea stories, that everyone in this room has a number of them. This gentleman right here has quite a few. He's even recorded one, so you should go listen to it. Chief Khan, it's great. It's very funny. But we have over 30 sea stories. So we started a podcast called Sea Story. New Sea Story comes out every week or 2, depending on a production schedule. We go out around the fleet. We record hundreds of them, and then we edit them, put sound effects in there. To date, we have well over 1 million listens. And the best thing is that new listeners are consuming about 13 minutes of content. So they're really engaged with it. So this is something else. Hey, you want to know a little bit about more Navy tradition? We don't focus on specific things. We just look for great stories. So these are the audio versions of Face of the Fleet, if you will. There's some really funny ones, like Chief Khan's. There's some really powerful ones. The gamut from kids that have just joined all the way up to 2, 3-star admirals. So this is something else you can point them to. Anywhere someone listens to podcasts. If you don't know, I'm sure a lot of people in here listen to them. They are growing like mad with teenagers. And then social media. So, Master Chief, I know you said they had to turn their phones off, but I think we're far enough along. Can we turn our phones on real quick? Okay. If you want to turn your phone on and go right now to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and follow America's Navy. And then I'll explain why is there a giant post that says don't join the Navy when we're talking about getting people to join the Navy. So when we started 3 years ago working on social media or the Navy account in general, 70% of our followers on social media were outside of our target that we're trying to recruit, and about 30% within it. We've now flipped that, where we're 80% of the people that follow us are within the range of people we're trying to recruit, and 20% are, the older, angry people that post really negative things. And that's going to happen because people are haters, and we all know that, and that's fine. So with this content, if you follow these channels, the best thing is that this stuff can be shared on your own social media accounts. And, this is all coming from the mothership. These are the things that are important. These things are approved. And so why did we tell people not to join the Navy? Well, to date, that was our most successful post. And if you can read it, it was hashtag opposite day. So we try to have a little bit of fun. We try new things. Yesterday, we posted an Instagram story about if you're joining boot camp, use this little countdown clock, post it on your account, and then share it with us, and we'll reshare it. So I think there were almost 1,000 people sent us their countdown clock. And when I last looked this morning, we had almost 2,000 comments. That was a post that's not even a day old. So there's a lot of really cool content there. We do a lot on Instagram. That's probably our heaviest. Facebook and Twitter would be next. And then obviously hashtag Forged by the Sea is important. Any questions here? Oh. And then resources. So you might know this. I don't think you need to write these down because you'll get them later. But if you're looking for a photo for your social media accounts or for anything, I would start with the U.S. Navy's Flickr account. So is everyone familiar with DVids? If there's any MCs, they certainly would be. DVids takes all of the photos from all of the military branches shot every day, and they post them online. And you can go dvidshub.net, and you can pull them down for free. Then Navy.mil, you can go at video and photo. They take all of the Navy stuff. So if you go to DVids, be careful. Filter your images to Navy, or you'll get a lot of stuff that's not. But then Chinfo takes the Flickr page and takes the best of the best. So if you look for, if I've seen a really great photo to post, I would start with Flickr. If you need a photo of a nuke or a CT that's going to be hard or something you got to dig for, you can go into Navy.mil, and their search capabilities are really good. Questions on that? Good? I saw some people taking photos. We'll keep going? Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about Navy.com. So we redid Navy.com March of 2018, and with every single thing we do, social, TV, internet video, posters, everything that we put out there, we drive people to Navy.com. So this is our hub. It's a hub for two reasons. All of the information is here for kids to look at, and because they can go right here and fill out an RFI, or they can even apply. And these things do really well. That bar stays up there the whole time. So about 25% of recruits last year came through this RFI form. So we get hundreds of thousands, but 25% that actually became sailors were handed off to the field from this RFI form up there. So it's very important. We'll walk through it. I know everyone knows what Google is, but if you do Google it, don't click on the top because that's an ad. We pay for that. You're wasting money. So it's broken into two sides. This is, hey, I want to discover really what is the Navy. And this is, I know a little bit. I want to dive into careers. So this video drags, so I'm going to skip it in a second. But has everyone seen this already, Navy.com? Oh, we can skip this? Yeah, skip? All right, we're skipping. Oh, those rate videos are all in here as we make them. When they go on YouTube, they go up here with that specific career. All right, we're skipping. Now you haven't seen this. So this is where you're going right now on your browser on your phone. recruitingetoolbox.com. And if technology works, it should bring this up right here. So this is the resource we created for you. This has everything you're going to need. What are we doing in social? What are the current bonuses? You don't need to locate a recruiter. You are recruiters. But then let's say you need a classroom presentation. There's presentations. You got to get a business card. That has the right logo. I'm not doing this scrolling. I'd be going much faster. Hey, I need a poster for something. There's all kind of different posters. Sorry, I'm standing in your way. That you can use. It's just a ton of, there's really, and we're adding things to it, like the brand guidelines will be added to this. There's, I talked about presentations. There's creative. There's tools. Nuclear power, special warfare on there just because of their importance. And then here's, guides to social media. This is very helpful. And then there will be ways for you to reach out to us if it's like, hey, we really need this, or this isn't working, or that sort of thing. Any questions on the e-toolbox right now? Good? All right, so just quickly, what's next? I've said this on every single slide. I'm sure you've heard it every single day since you've been here. But next year is the year of the high-quality market. So coming down from Admiral McLean, this is what marketing and what recruiting is focusing on. Information warfare, nukes, special warfare. And why is that? Because those rates are all missing their numbers currently. So everything that we're doing is highly targeted to these areas. So Sailor Versus. So how many people, show of hands, know what a YouTube creator is? YouTube influencer, got one. Yeah, star, YouTube star. You know who the basketball guys, Dude Perfect? Everyone knows Dude Perfect. So when I was a kid, the people I looked up to were like sports athletes and rock stars or country stars, whatever you're into, and movie stars. And then, God help us, millennials really liked reality stars, thanks to Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. Thank God we've righted the ship, and centennials love YouTube stars. So in a recent survey, the #1 job that 12-year-olds want when they get older is to be a YouTube star. And there is a YouTube creator, that's the official word, for every single thing imaginable. So the thought was, if YouTube is the #2 search engine, and centennials, you can see if they're 80% of centennials have said they found something on YouTube has made them more knowledgeable. And then they're taking these creators, and you look at this, they trust social stars as much or more sometimes than mainstream celebrities. So how do we find a way to level the playing field and say, hey, kids, you like YouTube stars, sailors are better than them. And we came up with this way to gamify it, and it's called Sailor Versus. So the last couple of months we've been filming these. We found some of the top YouTube creators that fit, again, the things that we're recruiting most, so special warfare, nukes, aviation, cryptology. And we put them against each other. So this top one, does anyone recognize any of these people? Oh, that's good too. I didn't either, I'll be honest. I didn't know what a YouTube creator was. I do now, but this gentleman up here is a tech reviewer. He has, I wrote it down, lost it. He has 2.5 million followers. So the thought here is, let's make videos with them for their channel that has no Navy branding. It's not Navy paid this guy to do this. It's Navy let this person. So that we're fishing from a different pond. We're now going after younger people and people that would never think about the military to show them how cool it is. So your average consumer is his name. He got to fly in an F-18. He went 7.5 Gs because the pilot was trying to make him pass out, and he didn't. But it was still a really cool thing. And at the end, he does a tech review of the F-18. And then this gentleman, who's the most popular, he's almost up to 10 million followers. He's a treasure hunter, really close to here. He's in southern Alabama. He dives in creeks and stuff, finds guns and jewelry and iPhones. So he went head-to-head with EODs to try to find, mines underneath a ship, which was a huge challenge for him to dive underneath a ship where he couldn't see anything in front of his face. And then this gentleman's name is Vsauce. So he did a challenge with a MMN, and it was really about learning the math. You can't show what an MMN does. You can't really talk about it. Everything's classified. We could barely put a camera in a submarine. So what we did is we went down to a sub, and they went through the mathematical probability of winning at battleship. That one's really cool. And then this gentleman down here, William Osman, he got started doing kind of hacking technology stuff. He's now moved more into the comedy realm. And so we did some challenges with him and 2 CTNs. So really cool stuff. This will be coming. When does everyone here make it out to their recruiting districts? Soon? Yeah, so this will all be live the second week of August. Now, this is not something we created for people to watch and then come running into a recruiting station. It's really meant to find people that are younger and plant that seed in their head so that when they meet a recruiter, it's not like no, and they walk off, they'll think about it. And then gaming and esports, I can't, I'm sure a lot of you know, esports and gaming is beyond big. It's crazy. I'm sure a lot of you have heard what the Army's doing. My personal opinion is just stupid. You're taking people, you're putting them on an esports team, and they're competing against the people they're trying to recruit. So in a competitive way, I want to now beat the Army, and then they're no good, or they beat us, and I'm pissed off. It's not the right way to do it. The right way is to get in there with the gaming culture and be a presence, but make gamers better. So imagine if we take like gaming creators and we give them tips and tricks from Navy SEALs of how, if I'm playing Overwatch or Fortnite, what's the best way to move in formation? What's the best way to hide? How can we get into the gaming landscape and not be an interruption? And this will be in 2020. And I've asked 1,000 times, but now it's question time. And if we don't ask questions, I think we have to stay here for an hour while they give us like canned questions for the live feed. So someone's got to have like a question, right? Like, how long have I been growing my beard? Or how can this help? Anything? No, Chief, no questions for you. Yes, sir. It's got to be official. They won't hear you on the live stream.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant J.G. Coven. I'm going to be working at NRD New England. I'm just curious if this presentation is going to be made available to all of us, like via email, so we'll actually have the PowerPoint.
E-Toolbox.
E-Toolbox.
Did you mark it?
I didn't bring my phone because I didn't want to be a
Recruiting-etoolbox.com.
distraction. So
You didn't want to have to go on the next ship or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be on the e-toolbox.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Lieutenant Commander Avery Leoncio. I'm going to be at NRD San Diego.
Lucky.
Absolutely. So we have a bunch of people that we know that are great stories, would be an excellent recruiting tool. Where do we send that information, and do you want it?
Yes, I want it. We can talk after this. I mean, that's how we get face the fleet. The funny thing is that when we went out to the USS Momsen, we didn't know Natalie at all and found her on that ship. And we actually have another sea story of one of her shipmates who's a bosun's mate that came out. We just find people everywhere. The homeless gentleman I was talking about, found him on the news. So, yes, every story we can get, we take. Is there a contact thing on the... Yeah, and we have a web email address where you can email things if, tomorrow you think of someone. I'll get it before we leave. Anything else? All right, well, I hope this has been helpful. The one thing is there are a lot of things we asked you to do. Really, this has created, a lot of, money from the Navy goes into this to help make your jobs easier. I really hope it does that. Finding out that people see some of this stuff and join is the highlight of my career. And we haven't had the chance to go out to every recruiting district. So when you go out, if you take this information and you share it with your other recruiters, to use the content, and we really hope it helps. And we welcome all feedback, really do, because it helps us do our jobs. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Master Chief, it's all yours. Thank you for being a phenomenal audience.